let's go ahead and dive right on into the news for Week 15. As a lot of stuff happened, a lot of injuries this week. I think this was a very consequential week for injuries. With the guys that went down. Talk about some headlines. There's some crazy stuff starting to come out as we're nearing the end of the year here, and we'll look at some the playoff standings and whatnot. Guys who are still alive. Look at who's eliminated officially, and look at some playoff clinching scenarios for Week 15 to wrap things up. So, as we always do, let's start with the injury report. Get the somber news out of the way first. Starting out, Baltimore quarterback Lamar Jackson, ankle injury, goes down. They are saying that he should be able to play this Green Bay game, but to me, if he's playing, he's going to be a fraction of what he is. Half, because he is the most elusive quarterback in the league. Same thing with Buffalo quarterback Josh Allen. I think it's an ankle injury, but they still haven't disclosed what his true lower leg injury is. It's undisclosed right now.
It's something with his foot. During the game, they did take off the sock. They had him on the sideline. They were, giving him treatment, and they did spot him with a walking boot.
Yeah, he left the stadium with a boot, which typically means, I think, low ankle sprain. But then there was
they never said ankle.
There's speculative reports about it being like a torn ligament in the foot or something like that, or a strained or pulled. I don't know. It has not officially been stated what his injury is. It's an undisclosed lower leg injury.
The only thing I can say, what I know it's not, because they would have said it. It's not turf toe. That's it. That's about the only thing I can say that's not.
Yeah,
but he does here. But as you're saying, he does have it's an actual injury, and will he miss time? We don't know. But I mean, like you're saying, I'm waiting to see what exactly is what it is, and then where do we go from there?
So. Well, Buffalo also lost wide receiver Emmanuel Sanders to a knee injury, and I didn't get to see the play where he got injured, so I'm not sure how severe this one is. Carolina wide receiver DJ Moore also went down with a knee injury, and Carolina also loses cornerback AJ Boye to a foot injury. Chicago has QB Justin Fields being evaluated for a hand injury, and also linebacker Roquan Smith went down with a hamstring injury during the game. Cleveland running back Kareem Hunt had an ankle injury. Dallas offensive lineman Tyron Smith had an ankle injury. Green Bay quarterback Aaron Rodgers re-injures that toe, the COVID toe. LA Chargers running back Austin Eckler goes down with an ankle injury. That one's going to be significant for that team if they can't have him back.
Is it sounding like he's not going to be able to suit up this week? I mean, I know we're on a short week.
On a short week, I would not expect them to trot him out there. I would expect him to do everything that he can to be out there on the field, but I don't expect him to, even if he is out there, he's basically going to be a decoy, in my opinion. Tampa Bay running back, though, Giovanni Bernard, also has a hip injury, and his looked nasty. That was a nasty play. Yeah.
He was not moving. None of his body language spoke positive to me at all. It looks bad.
Yeah.
So,
and
he may be missing some significant time here.
And the Washington football team can't catch a break. 2 new injuries. Taylor Heineke goes down with a knee injury, and Terry McLaurin, he should be back relatively soon. He had a concussion, but those always need to be taken very seriously.
And teammate Curtis Samuel still nursing another injury.
Is it a new injury? God!
It's. Can I say new old?
Did he re-aggravate it?
Injury that he keeps re-injuring every time he comes back.
Just call it a year. They're doing fine without you. Just stay off.
I mean, but just as a fan, I mean, we're being robbed. I'm like, we don't get to see what this football team really is supposed to look like because they can't get anybody to stay on the damn field. I mean, literally.
I've been telling you, their field is a graveyard. They can't. They need to change that out for a fully turf field. They cannot. Yeah. They need to stop with this natural grass field because Washington and that state in Maryland cannot support a lush turf that isn't going to eat ACLs and MCLs and knee injuries and guys.
Was this the game with all the little potholes that was all over the stadium?
Basically,
okay. Because Yeah, that had
I
to be
know
that
because
game.
the Giants also have that like one little spot on their field that's a dead
Not a
zone.
spot. No,
Yeah,
it
no,
was all everywhere. It was just
anywhere from the 30, I think it's the 30-yard line on one side of the field. I can't remember which side of the field, but 30-yard line and in is just, it's rife. Both of the Joe Theismann and the Alex Smith injury happened on that side of the field. Within that 30-yard line.
right.
RG3's injury happened over there. Just this year, Chase Young's injury happened on that side of the field. Like it is a graveyard of injuries over there. They need to just change out the entire field. Go turf field because they
Oh,
cannot
no.
support this.
I was gonna say it was in Green Bay.
Oh.
Cause I remember I was looking at Justin Fields. Oh my god.
The field just gets torn up there.
Yeah,
in Green Bay, but they can actually support actually doing that with that field because of the climate that we have up here in Wisconsin and Minnesota. You can actually support having a natural grass field up here. Anywhere in the Midwest, it's typically fine. The type of grass that you have out on the coast, on the East Coast, just does not support it. It's not conducive to being ran on with 300-pound linemen and 250-pound guys just kind of zooming across the field and tearing it up. It's just not conducive to that.
Got it.
So they need to change their field because too many people are getting injured in Washington.
That is true.
Whether you're playing for Washington or not. So that's neither here nor there. We'll leave it there. Headlines for this week. We touched on it in the last episode. Denver honored Demaryius Thomas, his 88 on the first play of the game versus Detroit. Beautiful tribute. Loved what they did there. Just had Cortland Sutton take a knee on the sideline there. Tried out there with 10 men, take the delay of game penalty. Definitely kind of got everybody going. Touched the hearts of any NFL fan that knows anything about Demaryius Thomas. Definitely we'll miss him in the NFL world, even though he did retire recently. Still a guy that you'd feel like, man, at 33, too soon.
Way too soon.
Some other depressing news. Let's start with wide receiver Josh Bellamy, former Jets receiver, was sentenced to 3 years in federal prison for fraudulently obtaining, I think the number was $1.2 million in COVID relief funds. Are you kidding me?
What? Wow. So we had a whole COVID racket going here.
Yeah. So that happened. And I feel like a lot of people are going to be upset with this. O.J. Simpson's parole ended today, so he is now a free man.
Oh, boy.
We're going to leave it at that. And last depressing little note to take here is there seems to be COVID outbreaks are back here in the NFL. 36 players tested positive for COVID-19 on December 13th. That was just this Monday, yesterday. And then today, the Rams placed 7 players on the COVID list. Cleveland placed 8 players on the COVID list, including Jarvis Landry there. Yes. Miami, all 3 of their running backs are on the COVID list. Wow. And that's coming off of a bye. That one to me is huge. And I think that is going to give us a little bit of a indication of where we are with this new Omicron variant and whatnot. There is reason to be a little bit alarmed because now there's some guys getting even on the public stage right now, going down and testing positive for COVID. It's spreading. So let's, as a community, get this under control. Get vaccinated. Wear your mask if you're not vaccinated, and schedule an appointment as soon as possible.
And there's something else that needs to be stated behind that little
Get
message.
Your boosters.
Yep, and one more thing, we just kind of completely forgot because we want to progress and move forward. Man, socially distance.
Yeah,
that has not been through. Yeah, we can have the mask and we can do all that, but there's no social distance at all anymore. And I get it, but the point is, from a pandemic ass point, people need to get it. Because they don't have it. It's just doesn't exist. Or whatever the case may be. It does.
I've been telling people in the grocery store, get back up. I know. Understand you're in line. There's still dots on the floor. Follow those.
Yeah, 6 feet. I mean, you know, it ain't asking like, man, I'm not asking you to quarantine in your house and I'll see you in 9 months. It's like, dude, you're 6 feet away. I can see you. You can see. You can hear me.
I talk loud. I can project.
Can you hear me right where I'm at? I think we're close to 6 feet, but it didn't matter. You know, like, but my point is, we're not all up in each other's face. You know, and sitting on top of each other, and we don't have to. You know, and it's like, and you can still live. I mean, look what The Price is Right is doing. Did you see they stage now?
No.
You remember how the crowd? It was just a crowd. It's just 2 people here. It's like 16 people spread out. Yeah, it's very. You know, you could tell we're living in a post-pandemic era. You know, but
at this point, I'm hoping we don't go back to regular on top of each other life. I've been liking the elbow room.
I'm loving it when they shut everything down. I'm getting
the roads were beautiful. Oh my goodness!
You get everywhere in 15 minutes, everywhere direction, anywhere you want to go. 15 minutes. Man, it was like you and 5 other cars, just winking at each other like, yeah, we own the roads. Moving on. Gotta get COVID under control.
Yeah,
and
because this outbreak is this. I know we had a couple of here and there this year of guys getting put on the COVID list. I know Keenan Allen went on the list last week and whatnot, but now 36, 37 players in one day, one foul swoop, just boom, you're all on it.
Up until this moment, the NFL had, compared to last year, has did a wonderful job with COVID. You know,
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, eventually, you know, the bottom will fall out at some point because of the things we're saying, man. You have to, you know, you got to apply all of these.
Yeah, they have to stay on top of
these things. You know, all of these things that is preventative measures, not just pick and choose what you want to do and not do. Yeah. So moving on. I don't. This is not about COVID. But
no, I mean it really is, because this is really going to affect the season if this is how things are going to continue to play out. And I'm interested to see if the NFL will create some new protocols based off of the recent outbreaks if this continues.
Right.
So we'll see how things progress here. Outside of that, this was kind of like head coaching nightmare this week. Let's start. Unfortunately, Chicago head coach Matt Nagy still has a job, so that's always going to be a nightmare. But moving on, Tampa Bay head coach Bruce Arians is mulling over the release of AB after his COVID stunt, trying to wrap that up. But I feel like at this point that they haven't done it tells me that somebody within the organization, whether it's Tom Brady or one of the GMs, like the GM or somebody else in that front office, somebody is trying to tell Bruce Arians no. Because if you go back to when they signed AB, Bruce Arians didn't want him in the first place. He said a couple of weeks before they ended up signing him that we're not interested. We feel like we have what we need to go on whatever run we need to do, and this, that, the other. We don't. He's not a necessity to us winning. Is basically what it came down to.
Yeah.
So Bruce Arians was, I feel like, was against it from the start. And
he almost was like, you know, he approached it the way he approaches Rojo career. You know, it's all merit based, and you know, it's incentivized, and you make a mistake, I'm gonna punish you, and you know. I get it. I get it in the aspect that I can see that Bruce Arians is just no top. You know, it's just some things he's not going to put up with.
But I think he had a zero tolerance rule with AB because of everything that happened with Oakland, Vegas. So
yeah,
I get with the Rojo comment. I get where you're going with that.
Just there is some pattern. It's small, it may be. It's a pattern though. You know that there's something in these guys. Behaviors that he just what
did Rojo do?
That's the thing.
I have no idea what
nobody knows. I don't even know if Rojo knows. I mean, at this point, he must have rolled his eyes at him or something on his way out the door. He said something to him. He didn't hear him and kept going.
At this point, I'm shocked Rojo has not been cut by Tampa Bay.
You know, more so even a bigger shock that he, even in the midst of all of this, he's found a way to score 2 touchdowns.
True.
You know, so it just it's the weirdest thing. But back to the AB. No, he was never an AB guy. And of course, we know Tom Brady talked him into that.
No, for sure. I didn't want to get into that whole conversation.
I mean, just point of reference.
Yeah,
we know. But then that's fine. If he's no idiot. And hell, if I'm any quarterback and I can get Antonio Brown, dude, get this dude here.
Yeah.
He can only help me, whoever the quarterback.
And I
is.
get it, but at this point, but what I was getting at too was the fact that I feel like if Tampa Bay and the organization were ready to do this, and they were like, okay, we really have a zero tolerance policy with UAB. If this comes out that he faked a vaccine card, whether he's vaccinated now or not, come on, like that I feel like that should have been an immediate expulsion. And the fact that it wasn't, and it's the fact that it hasn't happened by now. When it came out and he didn't do it by that next day, I was like, okay, this is going to be a story that gets buried. But now he finally comes out and says that he's mulling it over. Possibly he still might do it, but I think he's trying to convince the higher ups, like, how am I supposed to run my franchise if what I say keeps getting undermined by you guys up here?
Right.
Like, we came in here talking about this is a zero tolerance policy. Now we got to follow it through. I think he's trying to convince the higher ups that that's the case. I don't think Tom Brady would get in the way of Bruce Arians or be upset with Bruce Arians for cutting him, because at this point, first of all, they're cruising right on along without him, and two, I think Tom Brady understands, like, yeah, you can't do that, especially with the age of their roster, for one, and two, the age of their coaching staff. It's like all of these guys are susceptible to COVID, on top of the fact that Bruce Arians has had cancer twice.
Interesting.
So, like,
that could be the other thing. It could be a very personal.
Yeah, true. But but Bruce Arians has been on the other side of this AB conversation before COVID was even a thought. So
true.
So that was that. There was an interesting little article that came out that I don't think got enough light in the news cycle. And then the other thing, Jacksonville is really trying to go back into this whole organizational failure type topic right now with Urban Meyer. Jesus Christ, Urban, you can't catch a break. You can't have 1 week out of the spotlight, can you? He has to be in the spotlight. He needs to feel like he's back in college football, doesn't he?
I think yes, absolutely. I'm not gonna slam this guy like y'all do, but he's not helping himself either. No. I'm just.
Did you read the article?
I am just a person, personally, as a football fan, that just refuses. I just decline to even comment on this. It just. It's not worth it. I get it. I get having the conversation, but for me to actually actively participate in it, it's like it does not matter what I get to say. Because
that's fine. You guys get to all hear my thoughts on this.
Yeah,
I have bullet points, by the way.
I think, but I want to spin this for Urban Meyer.
You're playing Urban Meyer devil's advocate over here.
I'm gonna let you have it. I will let you have it right after this. This is all I have to contribute to this. That I think he kept his word, and he said he was going to make Jacksonville relevant. And there you have it, sir. And there you have it.
All right, if that's what he's doing, you're totally right. He has followed through on his promises.
The only logical reasoning here that could be. Other than that, it's whatever you're about to say, and I have no comment to that.
Because I'm not even going to get into the article yet. Because let's just go back to all the BS that happened at the beginning of the year, starting with the hiring of a misogynistic, racist, abusive assistant coach, and then the immediate firing of him because he thought he could get away with it, and then just was like, "Oh, I can't." All right, it was kind of just like, "Okay, sorry, dude. I'll text you later about it." Type of thing.
Wow.
And then we move right on along to OTAs and illegal practices, illegal full pads, and having to fine the organization multiple times for having these practice issues. And then we kind of went into a lull, and they were moving right on along, losing games like we thought they would. And then, hey, I'm gonna get ground up on by some 24-year-old in College Town at my own bar in Ohio because I'm in Cincinnati and we just lost and now we're 0-4 and this is the perfect time to get my spirits up when my wife is at home.
No, I'm gonna just hang back one extra night. things that
not
never
fly
sound
back with the team.
things that never sound good in any scenario like this.
And then we did have a little bit of a lull again. We didn't hear anything. They won a couple of games. They beat Buffalo in a 6-9 game, and they were looking like a trash team. And it was what we expected. And now we get to the point of, first of all, early reports last week coming out that there was an argument. I even heard reports of a fist fight between Marvin Jones and Urban Meyer. I don't think the fist fight is true, because if that was true, we would see a lot more coverage of that. So I think that was just a rumor. But still a heated argument with a leader of the team coming in there, and he clearly has some issues with you as the head coach. And you clearly have no way of not just controlling him or getting him to understand your side of things, but the constant ridicule of Marvin Jones throughout this season, throughout the press conferences, kind of using Marvin Jones as a scapegoat for a lot of the losses here, isn't going to cut it. And then we get other reports later on that Urban Meyer has been boasting about how he's a winner, and he has private conversations with his coaches and his assistant coaches where he's calling them losers. And then on top of that, made them defend their resumes to keep their jobs and to stay around.
Wow.
Sir, you're the head coach. You're 2-11. Get the F out of here with that BS. First of all. Second of all, if I'm an assistant coach, I'm not defending anything. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be associated with the dysfunction that this team is.
Yeah, we're seeing another situation of a college coach who has not been able to really make that transition into the pro level.
Not done yet.
I get that, but okay, I spoke too soon. Go ahead. Yes, more.
And it culminates with, if you're going to look at the Jacksonville Jaguars, let me just ask you this. If you're going to look at the Jacksonville Jaguars,
by the way,
team,
if anybody's just tuning in into this is the Urban Meyer rant right now, just going on by Curtis 5.
Because I said that this dude should have been one and done already. And I know a lot of people don't agree with that, and I'll get to Shad Khan in a second. But let me ask you this about this last point.
Go ahead.
If you're going to look at the Jacksonville Jaguars offense, who would you say is the best player on the offensive side of the football right now?
On the offensive side?
Mm-hmm. I don't really know about their defense, so I won't say the whole team. I think he's the best on the whole team from what I've seen. But
the best player?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Man, if it's not Trevor Lawrence, the only other person I could say is literally Carlos Hyde, maybe.
Well, I was thinking the other running back, Robinson.
I don't know what's going on with him. That's why I didn't.
I'm getting to what's going on with him.
Go right ahead.
So apparently last week in their 37 to not last week, the week before, their 37-7 loss to the LA Rams, we saw Robinson disappear for a while, did we not?
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, after Robinson's early fumble in this game, he was benched on the sideline. They just sat him, and Urban Meyer told him you can't go back in. Now, after the game, Urban Meyer reported, and a reporter asked Urban Meyer what was going on, and he said that he was just nursing an injury, just injury management, that had to make sure that he was fine and put him back in. Oh, no. Trevor Lawrence comes out and states that he had to go to, or it's reported that Trevor Lawrence had to go to Urban Meyer and tell him, hey, Robinson's fine, get him back in the game. We need a win. We need to go with our offense. We need to go with our best guys.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some reports that they were trying to get Carlos Hyde going a little bit more because with his rapport with Carlos Hyde previously at Ohio State and whatnot. But I don't think that that's really a thing, regardless if it is or not. The issue is your best player on the entire team right now is Robinson, and you're just going to bench him because he fumbled the ball and this whole team sucks.
Yeah.
The only production you've gotten out of this outside of the heroics of Trevor Lawrence of kind of overcoming the BS that this team is.
Again, he's running a pro football team like a collegiate team, and it's just these rules or this philosophy is not going to translate well, and it's not, as you can see.
It's not.
From on the field to off the field, he has treated his team, his life, as if he is still a college coach. And
you're not at Ohio State, bud.
Yeah, it's not. And where was he right before? Was he in Florida?
Florida.
Yeah, and
He took some time off, but yeah.
It's why I don't like getting baited in this conversation about Urban Meyer. You can't win a debate in Urban unless it's only one or a couple of points you can win, because it's a slam dunk. Other than that, there's no debating it. Like, they couldn't put this on First Take and they like start taking about and they have a real debate. It's like whoever's taking the affirmative, it's just what
What are you talking about?
Exactly. Like, no one's gonna be able to follow you, because you had to take that position. Like,
Yeah.
you're gonna be the guy that's gonna have to try to convince viewers how this is a thing. It's not. This is really
But that's all about Urban Meyer. The reason why, but this is the reason why I'm saying Jacksonville is trying to become. They're just trying to they won't get out of their own way of organizational failure, because just to either early this morning or late last night, it was reported that owner Shad Khan states that he won't make any impulsive decisions when it comes to the hiring or firing or letting go of Urban Meyer at this point. And that right there is, I understand, Shad, if you feel like you can't make any impulsive decisions. But shouldn't your head coach and GM reflect that of you? Not making impulsive decisions? Because Urban Meyer grossly disagrees with that point. Urban Meyer is only impulsive decisions because he is only living in the very second that he is in.
Right.
He doesn't care about what's going to happen the next day for whatever actions that he's making. He clearly reflected that after the Cincinnati game. He doesn't care what's going to happen even the next quarter, because that clearly was reflected in the Rams game when you benched James Robinson, right? James? Whatever his name. Robinson.
You got it right.
And at this point, I think it just, like you said, he's running it like it's a college football team. Go take that Notre Dame job. I know they hired somebody, but they would love to have you.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll make a way for that to happen, one way or another.
It's just, I am so, like, if they don't fire them, Jacksonville is done. They as an organization, they're just done. It
may be their last PR. I'm saying this. I'm trying to run a team here. This has nothing to do with X's and O's. I think that's the only relevant element to him being there at this point, that he helps sell tickets.
No, I'm fine with him being there throughout the rest of the season. We're at week 15. Right. There's no point in firing him today. I mean, if you're not going to fire him for the BS that he pulled at the beginning of the year, what the hell is this going to do for you to fire him? I understand that.
Yeah.
But when you hit the off season, you guys are eliminated. You mathematically cannot make the playoffs. So at this point, finish out the season. Hey, Urban, sorry, this is just not going to work out. We think we're going to go a different direction.
I'm not. I'm sure they're not going to have a large or a sexy pool of candidates, but it's just going to be one of those. Man, do you want a project job or not? Because it's gonna take the next couple of coaches and coaching regimes to really get this team moving, and be able to keep bringing talent over here.
But this is, I think, going to hold back Trevor Lawrence. I think this is going to hold back whatever talent they have on the defensive end. Like, I don't think there's going to be any sort of development for anybody on this team as Urban Meyer's the head coach. You're in private meetings with your assistant coaches, calling them losers after you just lost 11 games. Like, what the hell is that?
Something you see in college. So,
like I said, head coaching nightmare right now in the NFL.
And I mean, damn, how much more can a team like a city like Jacksonville has to be subjected to? If it's not one thing, it's something else. I'm talking about from the organization side. I want to see this organization actually do well, but I can't keep going back. They had a damn good draft, yet it has translated nowhere on the field.
So they lost Travis Etienne before the season even started.
Definitely, it starts with that first big domino right there. which I would be excited for his return. But man, you've seen that second year rookie element thing.
Yeah.
It's a very bittersweet kind of thing that you do, but
It's gone from like a rookie wall to a sophomore mid-year wall. So
exactly, but yet this guy has to go through it all for the first time.
in
year
yeah.
two.
Oh God, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
he got knocked out at the beginning. You know what I'm
He
saying?
didn't get to play the game. I don't even think he even played a preseason
Nothing.
game.
He's never suited up. That's my point. He did the Blake Griffin thing. Just what?
Ben Simmons.
Yeah. Just second year, 5-year rookie. Like all of a sudden he just show up seasoned and raw.
Fortunately, the NFL doesn't have that caveat that it's just your first year playing as a rookie, not your first year drafted as a rookie. So
yeah, it's tough in Jacksonville, and I'm like, dang, this is that. I think they're it ain't 2 years away from being they're like 4 years away from being 4 years away. Like my Lord. They're so behind.
But that's the type of things that happen when you hire a guy like Urban Meyer. You that is a massive setback for the organization because you had an opportunity at getting quite a few nice guys out there. I mean, Eric Bieniemy was out there. Brian Daboll was out there. Leslie Frazier was out there, which unfortunately is being connected to the Chicago job. Which, I mean, I won't say unfortunately. It's just not a guy who's in my top 5 of head coaches to come to Chicago.
No,
but he
okay.
keeps getting tied to Chicago for here. But I'm like,
I wouldn't be.
Who are you bringing with you? Because
right.
I'm gonna need some offensive assurance that we're gonna have something on that side of the ball.
I do like him better than Nagy.
No,
don't get me wrong.
100%.
But I'm not saying that with a lot of confidence. Like
I'm not looking
or I feel very comfortable. Like, oh yeah, our problems will be solved.
As a Bears fan, I am not looking to be okay with my head coach. I want to be excited about the head coach that we hire. I'm tired of being like, okay, let's see where this goes. No, I want to be like, okay, this guy is proven. This guy can definitely get it done.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, I would say, I have gotten excited for some of the coaches that's come through here. The last one was John Fox.
Mm-hmm.
But
oh God, yes.
That one just went.
If they would just let him do his thing, we would have freaking Deshaun Watson.
Whole nother conversation, but yeah, they just really screwed that one up.
Ryan freaking.
Oh, I didn't mean to.
Sorry, I'm not going. Let's move on. Standings in the NFL.
Let's just move on.
Well, let's start with the officially eliminated. Let's get the bad stuff out of the way. Okay. Officially eliminated now is Houston from last week. We talked about that. They're 2-11. They got eliminated in week 13, losing to Indianapolis. But now Jacksonville, as we just previously stated, week 14 with their loss, they are now eliminated at 2-11. The Jets are mathematically out of it at 3-10. In Detroit, they try to hold on for dear life, but it is in a slow and somber death for them. They are now officially out of it. So in memoriam, we do remember these teams for the dysfunction that they were this year. And we God, we need to have a video podcast for your antics over here.
I have so many. Y'all can't see none of them. I'm just over there.
No, but these teams are done. There's no way that they can even try to salvage their season. They're phoning it in. They're going for the number 1 pick.
Deja vu on this moment. These teams are done. These teams, I could have sworn we said that at the beginning of the year about these same teams.
Sorry, these teams are mathematically done.
I'm like, surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
All the time.
Usual suspects.
Here's the final 4, the 4 horsemen here. Yeah.
Let's talk about some good stuff now. Mm-hmm. AFC. New England leads the pack still after their bye week, 9-4. Tennessee's 9-4. They get the 2nd seed right now. Kansas City also 9-4 are in the 3rd seed with their lack of a tiebreaker right now. Baltimore falls down to 8-5 with the 4 seed there. And our wild card suspects right now, LA Chargers 8-5, Indianapolis Colts get into the playoff picks for 7-6, and Buffalo Bills fall all the way down to 7 at 7-6.
Hanging on for dear life with what 1, 2,
5,
3. Oh my gosh!
So there's 3 teams on the bubble right now, all at 7-6. That will be Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Denver are the last ones in that playoff picture right now. And on the NFC side of things, we're looking at a Green Bay team at number 1, boo, 10-3. 10-3 Tampa Bay Buccaneers and a 10-3 Arizona Cardinals team. Dallas is at 9-4, rounding out the division winners there, or leaders at the moment. LA Rams 9-4, San Francisco 7-6, Washington football team 6-7 are in the wild card at the moment. Washington football team has a tiebreaker over Minnesota and Philadelphia, who are right on the outside right now. And Atlanta and New Orleans right now are also 6-7, still right there for the taking with that 7th seed there. So those are the standings right now. Got some teams, got some movement finally in the standings. But yeah, it's just the Rams kind of solidifying themselves. I like the 2 LA teams sitting at number 5 right now, just right on the outside of there. I think they're both 1 game back from their from their division leaders right now. So it's wide open, and nobody has clinched yet so far. And that is what we're going to wrap this episode up with, is some playoff clinching scenarios in the NFL coming into week 15. So let's start with Tennessee. They have the first playoff clinching scenario. Surprisingly, New England has no way of clinching anything. And what is wrong with this page? New England has no way of clinching anything right now because they have a couple of games they have a game left with Buffalo and the game with Indy right now that keep them wide open for dropping out of the playoff race. So it really comes down to the next 2 weeks for them to stay in it. But Tennessee can lock up their division. So Tennessee at 9-4 would need a win versus Pittsburgh at 6-1. And they would need Indy at 7-6 to lose versus the 9-4 New England Patriots to win the AFC South title. So Indy loses, Tennessee wins, they're in. And that'll get them the title. They'll be in the top 4 seeds. They won't even have to worry about falling down all the way to 7 or anything like that.
Right.
Now Green Bay, they are 10-3. If they get a win versus Baltimore, they're in. The other option is if they lose versus Baltimore, because they are going to be on the road, they would need Minnesota to lose versus Chicago to get the NFC North title. And that will lock them into the top 4 seeds, just kind of at that point plan to try to get that bye week. But if Minnesota if Minnesota wins that game and Green Bay, if Green Bay loses as well, they can clinch a playoff spot basically by having either New Orleans and San Francisco lose. If both those teams lose this upcoming week, and Green Bay loses and Minnesota wins, Green Bay is assured they will be in the playoffs. They will have one of those 7 spots. So those are their scenarios for week 15. Tampa Bay also has a chance at winning the NFC South title. All they have to do, beat New Orleans. Now, if they lose to New Orleans, they will have the opportunity to clinch a playoff spot as well. What they would need is a Minnesota and San Francisco loss to end up locking themselves into the top 7 of the NFC. Now, Dallas is also on this list. Theirs is very convoluted on how they can get things all wrapped up for them. Or not wrapped up. They're just trying to get a... if they win versus the Giants and Philadelphia loses versus the Washington football team and 5 of the next 6 teams I'm going to rattle off win, then they will guarantee themselves a spot in the playoffs. They would need either Arizona, Cincinnati, the LA Chargers, the Miami Dolphins, Minnesota Vikings, or New England Patriots. 5 of those 6 teams win, boom, they already got it. They're going to be in the playoffs regardless of any tiebreaker scenario. So
Got it.
Very convoluted on their way of clinching a playoff spot, but it is a possibility for them this week here. So Kansas City doesn't have any sort of a way of locking things up this week just yet. They will be able to really boast themselves if they beat LA on this short week, but
they'll take a commanding lead of that division.
Can't lock it up though. Baltimore can't lock anything up right now. Indy basically is trying to hold on for dear life. If they are able to catch Tennessee, that would be huge, but they would have to beat them outright. So they would need a couple of Tennessee losses. They would need Tennessee to lose 3 of the next 4 games because they have to beat them outright.
Exactly.
Which isn't too far-fetched, but just saying.
Not this year.
Buffalo, they can still win the division, but it's they're kind of in the same boat as Indy right now, where they would need some big help. The other thing is the Bills actually have a better chance at winning their division only because they still have a game left versus New England. So if they can steal that, get that one on the win, they can, exactly that. So there is that on the AFC side. NFC-wise, Arizona still has a chance at clinching a playoff spot as they failed to do it. They basically win and they're in. And they will not lock up the division, but they will be in the playoffs if they get a win here.
And they are taking their 7-0 road record on to Detroit. So, Detroit just never gets better. So, that should be just a foregone.
Yeah, and Detroit's done anyway, so they're going to probably be phoning it in to make sure that they get that number 1 seed. No, the players won't be, but the management will.
Exactly.
Tampa Bay as well just needs a win and in situation for them. We kind of went over that already. And the Rams, with their win on Monday night, actually kept them their hopes at grabbing that last seed alive. I would say Washington football team, they have a real possibility of getting catched by Philadelphia. They still got to play Philadelphia twice here.
Starting this week?
Yeah, starting this week. But Philadelphia has a real nice chance at knocking Washington out of this race. A team where I think you had them third, I had them dead last in the NFC East. They really could make a push here, and they could actually end up making the playoffs and having to play either Green Bay, Tampa, or Arizona when it comes down to it. So they're very much still alive, which kind of shocked me coming off this bye week.
Yeah. I think because it was able to get that win a week ago, and then they went on the bye. It's just kind of like they just kind of floated around. It's just they're still there, relevant a week later. So we'll see what's going to happen with Philadelphia. But I mean, at 6-7, we'll see what they do with the next 4 weeks. But they can control their own fate, and that 7 seed is up. That 7 seed is really up for grabs in the NFC. Like anybody can take that out, damn near, outside of Detroit. But anybody can get.
Anybody could grab it, but I don't. If you're under 7-6 right now, to me, you're done. I have no faith because 5-8 down starts with Carolina, and anybody who's worse than Carolina right now, sorry, bud.
Seattle,
5-8 out.
Yeah, and then Giants 4. Yeah, Bears 4.
4-9.
That's it. And it's Detroit.
Yep. So yeah, it's not looking pretty if you have anything less than 6 wins.
I know
it's not looking good for
and
you.
The Falcons, but
I'm out on both of them anyway. But
they're
tied with the rest of them.
It makes it for interesting football talk for another week. But yeah, come on. And I've been picking Atlanta, but this 6-17, yeah. I would have no fear of them walking into my stadium or me walking into their stadium.
The issue with them is that their strength of victory is so bad right now. I'm just looking at them like, ugh.
But I have to say, impressively, 5-2 on the road. They are a road.
That's because of what you said. They're a transient city. They don't care about getting up to play at home.
I mean, because Atlanta is a place where road teams can come in and make themselves at home. Therefore, Atlanta made themselves at home on the road because they can't even win in their own. They can't even win in Atlanta, but they can win everywhere else.
Yeah. So
anyway,
that's really the standings. They just kind of wanted to look at some of those key playoff clinching scenarios and kind of foresee what can come here. But we'll